Hello, I'm going to see if I can do a quick introduction to my timeline project that I will be working on for the next couple of years. This is the version that I have on the internet right now, and this is kind of version 1 of the timeline. And I can't put the update of my timeline on the internet because my computer doesn't have the memory to be able to paste the pages together on the same page. So I'm going to have to wait until I can borrow somebody's computer who has a really powerful computer. I can't do it on this website server. They told me that I could, and then I called back and it turns out you can't. So I'll just have to borrow somebody's computer. So here's the homepage I have for my timeline now. Here's me talking about it, and the wall, it's designed to go up on a, you push print and it just prints up. And here's like a introduction to it, a sample of the original version. But what I have on the internet right now is I have like everything that goes up from the beginning of the universe. Like here's 15 billion years ago, and so you have the 13th galactic year. A galactic year is 250 million years. So it's like galactic year 13 billion years ago. Or there's 13 galactic years. Oh, it's going back in time. Oh, here's the first galactic year. Oh wait, here's where we're at now. I haven't looked at this for a while, but yeah, so you can go back and forward in time like this. And you can also download a audio version, encyclopedia of it later, of the space. So here's Precambrian time, Mesoprozoic time, Neoproterozoic time. So I have the traditional kind of a timeline here, and then below you have the actual explanation of it. So like an archaic aeon is this. And so 15, so here's from 0 to 600,000, this column, 60 to 600 million years ago. Here's 600 million to 1.2 million years ago, 1.2 to 1.8, 1.8 to 2.4, and up to 3. So this is the page that has back to 15 billion years, and this is the section of 0 to 3 million. So if you want to go down to the next section, you can just scroll down, or you can just click here and it'll take you instantaneously to here. So Precambrian, so you can look at it kind of as though you're moving back in time. Like if you're looking at the wall and you're moving back in time. So here's looking at the wall, and then you go to the next section towards the left, next section, last section. So here's the Big Bang 13.5 million years ago, and here's the 55th. So there have been 55 galactic years. Not like our galaxy was fully formed at the beginning of the Big Bang, but here's 55 galactic years to put it in perspective. So galactic year, move forward, galactic year, forward, move forward. Oh, that's because we are on 12.9. I just didn't color code it for some reason. Oh. Moving forward, galactic year. Moving forward, galactic year, and then we get to Hadean Ion, the Azoic, and it started at the same time as Precambrian, which then turned into the Archean Ion. So you can read what this is all about. And geologic and biologic, 2 different ways that I divided it up. So and then 1 to 3 billion years ago down here, and here's where all the different ions that we have. Now if you wanted to go to the other page, just click here. Here's the big one. So then 3 billion years. So 3 billion is 10 times smaller than 15 billion. So, or let's see, no, what it is, 3 into 15 is 5. So 3 billion is 5 times smaller. So we're gonna make this 5 times smaller. Oh, whoops. I guess the link didn't work yet because I'm not done with the page. I thought I had the link working. Okay, whatever. So there's my 15 billion page. Oh yeah, I didn't paste it together yet. So there's the 15 billion one. So here's my page. So let's go back and we'll look at the other page. The timeline page is right coming up. Computer works kind of slowly. It's got some other programs running right now. I have Windows Movie Maker running, and yeah, and that's it actually. This is taking quite a long time. All right, while that loads back to here. Okay, here we are. So there's 15 billion, and then we have 3 billion, which is 5 times smaller. And I guess okay. So this is from 0 to 300 million, okay? And so this is from 0 to 60 in this column, 60 to 120. So tertiary went from 2.7, which is right here, to 65 million. But we can move back. Let's move back some. So this is this page, 0 to 300. 300 to 600, 600 to 900, 900 to 1.2 billion, 1.2 to 1.5, 1.5 to 1.8, 1.8 to 2.1, 2.1 to 2.4, 2.4, 2.7, 2.7 to 3. So here we are at the 11th galactic year. Remember those galactic years that we saw before? So when you click on this button here, 10 times bigger, well, it's actually 5 times bigger, I got my math wrong, to 15 billion years, you're going to see these galactic years shrink. So it's kind of like you're turning a map of space into a map of time. Remember my power of 10 page where you go in and you expand the field of view 10 times, or you step back and you make the field of view 10 times smaller? Well, you can do the same thing with time, and that's me doing it with time right here. You can just see the same, and you can do it with all of them. Like I can go from 300 to 600, and then we can see the 300 to 600 expanded 10 times in this area. So zoom into this little Cambrian by 10 times and make it 10 times bigger. So this is the the 11th galactic year. Now, a galactic year is a revolution of the galaxy. So then the Archaic Ion, and then we can trace ourselves forward in time. See, here's the oldest one, 10th galactic year. So then the 10th galactic year comes in. For some reason, I have it screwed up. So we're in the second one, and then the third one. 10th galactic year goes into the 9th galactic year, and then 9th galactic year turns into the 8th galactic year, and then 8th galactic year, and I'll color code it right later. This is just a prototype. Turns into the 7th galactic year, which is 250 million years, because a galactic year is about 1.75 to 1.5. Yeah, so Proterozoic Eon is the same time as the Precambrian time. So we can move forward in time. 6th galactic year and forward. So that's the 3 billion year page. And oh, whoops, sorry, I forgot. Just a second, that'll take us back. But this is the or I guess I should show you the old version again. So I have those ones for or I'll show you my modern. This is the more or less modern look of my page. So I'm going to have different parts of the world. This is Europe. EU is Europe. So we have North Europe, West Europe, South Europe, East Europe. North and East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and South Africa. So this is according to the United Nations. You have a certain number of countries in North Europe. So this country here, the section I'm on here, which is right now is its own page, because it's all my computer can handle. But when it's up on the internet, it'll be all from the section of AD will all be one page. From Jesus Christ until the present, including 2010, including these pages. It would all be one page. So you can zoom around, zip around. But right now, all we have here is South Europe. So that's here, according to the UN. And South Europe consists of these countries: Portugal, Croatia, Spain, Bosnia, Andorra, Albania, Italy, Montenegro, San Marino, Serbia, Vatican City, Malta, Greece, Slovenia, Turkey. And so here's the traditional timeline, where you can go forward in time. So Pliny lived from 60 to 110. Claudius Galenus. These are different, like, historians and scientists. And then we have the popes. These are all the popes with their names. Here's the Roman Empire. So the Julio-Claudian dynasty. You had 5 of them here. And then you had an interregnum guy. So I don't have his name here for some reason. And then the Flavian dynasty with these 3 guys. 5 good emperors with these guys. Commodus, Severin with these. So you can see the Roman Empire ended here in 475. So this is the entire Roman Empire, and these are the dynasties, and these are the emperors. So you can see, and I have 14 emperors and 14 emperors here because it's too many to squeeze in here. So, but you can see how the relationship in size between the length of an emperor and the length of the entire Roman Empire. So it's not like minuscule, and it's not like takes up the whole thing. It can, for me, it put into perspective as time isn't quite as long as it seems. Like, these are kind of big, you know. Like Hadrian's length was a good chunk of the entire Roman Empire, you know. So then you can scroll down, and here's the Roman Empire. It's the pink. So in blue you have the Roman Emperor, and here are his dates, and this is how long he was Roman Emperor. Showing the Julio-Claudian dynasty, you have these 3 guys: Augustus, Tiberius, and Caligula. And then it was the Claudian, with Claudius and Nero, and then there was a civil war having Galba and Otho. And then you have the Flavian emperors with these 3 guys, and this is how long he was and how long he was. And of course you had popes at the same time. At this time they were it was like a backwards religion, or a backwoods religion. So inside here I'm gonna have like what they did, what happened. But right now I just have, you know, Vesuvius blows here, and this color is for the persecutions, and there's going to be a red border for wars, and black borders for battles and stuff. So that's basically how it's going to be set up. Things in red are movies, so you can find the movie by knowing the name of it and what year it was written. So, and then you can click forward, like click to the next 500 to 1000 AD in South Europe, or previous 500 to 0 BC in South Europe. South Europe is just the area that covers these countries here. So show you that's North Europe, West Europe, South Europe, East Europe, Northeast Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, West and Central Asia, those 2 Europe UN designated areas, which are related. South Asia, South, East Asia, Oceania, North America, Central America, and South America. So Um, so in this one, here's technology from. Here's a sample of a page where you have all the different areas of the world all on one page, because my computer can still handle this. This is BC. So I can show you how the links work on it. We're looking at technology now, like the ages of Taurus and Bronze Age. Stopped here, and then MB Bronze Age 2 and Middle Bronze Age to here. Or if you want to trace down different countries, North Europe, Nordic Bronze Age from 1700 to 600 BC. And then if you wanted to check out West Europe, Alp culture, South Europe, had the Greek Bronze Age, Middle Helladic Age, height of the Minoan civilization from here. And here's stuff that happened. Here's Athens, the earliest kings from 1600 BC. Ogyges, king of Aegea, came over. So you can go anywhere in the world. Actually, it doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be sequential. So the Zia dynasty, these guys, and the names of the guys. Central America, North America, Oceania, Eastern Europe. Let's see, these guys had stuff going on. West and Central Asia from 2000 to 1500 BC. Hittite. All these guys, these are the Old Testament guys who lived like 147 years, 133 years. So they lived at the same time as the Babylonian Empire with Hammurabi, who lived this amount of years. So Hammurabi was a contemporary of Joseph and Kohath, but he didn't live as old. But this is the Babylonian Empire. It lasted 299 years from 1830 to 1531 BC, and these are all the different kings that they had. So it's just a handful of kings, you know, like this guy's grandfather's grandfather was Hammurabi. The last emperor's grandfather's grandfather was Hammurabi, and Hammurabi's grandfather's grandfather was the son of the very first emperor, king. So, you know, it's something, it kind of makes you think about, even in times where there's no written language, you can still play the telephone game, and if grandfathers fathers speak the tales very well to their sons, you can keep the legend going for a long time. So we should definitely take ancient legends from the past seriously. So Sin lived at the same time as Babylon. You can see how they're all superimposed here, so you can see how their relationship, and you can see how some supplanted others. In this case, I don't have any examples of that. So here's all the different people and all the different empires that happened down here. So you can scroll down, or you can just jump. Jumping is a good way. Instantaneous jumping is a good way to compare instantaneously. Like, if you don't want to just compare kingdoms that are happening at the same time here, you can compare between different areas. Like, the Rig Vedic period. Oh, it was the time of Exodus. Rig Vedic period, time of Exodus. Look, and so on. And you can do that anywhere in the world, or you could just move forward in time on this part in this world here by going to the next 500-year segment. So here's the information about India, the Magadhan Empire we had there, and then Southeast Asia had the Hongbang Dynasty. East Asia had Zia. So what else do we have here? Here's from 1400 to 1000. It's the same way. You can jump around. Let's see if there's anything interesting happening in South Europe, because that's like Egypt, Greece. So here's Athens. You had the different kings of Sparta here, but it's mythical, so this is just from tales, because they didn't have written language at that point. But you had Canordius, and his son was Albetus. This little sign means son. This little sign means brother. So Hippocoronion was the brother of Tiniadurius. And they were all 20 years. I was just guessing because they just had this guy and this guy and this guy, and I pieced it together. So, and then Athens had the kings at this point. So it was these guys. So, and Hercules was a ruler of Mycenae at that point. Northeast Africa, this is Egypt. So you have the Egyptian Empire here. Here are all of the different pharaohs at that point. So if you wanted to see if like Akhenaten, here's Akhenaten. If you wanted to see if he lived at the same time as like when he was in the Bible, because the Bible people, Joseph ran away from Egypt. Just click on West and Central Asia, where modern day Israel is. See, Israel is one of those countries, and I have it moving from here, from upper left down to lower right, as though it is northwest down to southeast. So Turkey followed by Cyprus, Syria, and down like that. And I have this the same way, northwest down to southeast, northwest down to southeast. So we're spiraling future with northwest Europe leading the way. So here's the judges. You have the judges with these judges here, and let's see, where was Moses? Here we are, Moses right here. For some reason I don't have him written up here, but 1393 to 1273 is about here. Oh, I have Moses. I just didn't see it. Duh. So here's Moses, right? So let's superimpose Moses on Egypt and see which guy Egypt was. Moses, done, done, done. Moses was there, and Moses is right about here on the end of the 18th dynasty. Now, I don't have these guys on here yet, but it would have been Akhenaten and Tuthmose. So it's kind of how you can bring stuff together, isn't it? So let's look at another one. Here's my 500-year block. So this, like, instead of this being the entire page, this 500 years being the entire page, 500 years is just one of the 5 segments. So now we've got 2,500 years all the way across. So this is Jesus, the Lord and Savior. And then in dark green is anything BC, and in light green is anything AD, speaks I today. So this is technology. Middle Ages is here, extensive slave trade is here. And then we can move down yonder south the way. So religion. This is the other way of organizing it. But yeah, Mayan, 500,000 Mayan age, and then it turned into a new Mayan age in 1733, according to the Mayan calendar. Age of Aries turned into the age of Pisces here in the year like 400. Biblical silence. There's biblical silence here, where there's nobody writing the Old Testament, and then the Lord and Savior was born there. So I don't have Egypt anymore though. North Europe, here's the life of the Holy Roman Empire, the Austro-Angles sagas, the Danish Empire, British Empire here. So here's one about all the empires we're starting. So if you wanted to superimpose that on technology, you could just say, technology, Middle Ages ended, Northern Europe, you know. So, and then we have, let's see, Mediterranean area, late Byzantine, Middle Byzantine, early Byzantine. So here's the entire Byzantine Empire. Here's the Roman Empire and the Roman Republic. So the Roman Empire kind of replaced by the Byzantine Empire, with the Venetian Empire lasting its amount of time. So then you look at the empires. Here's all of the empires in that 500-year period. See their relationship with one another, and then the information color-coded there. Yeah, in East Asia, Middle East, Africa, America, Central America. So that's one page on its own. And then in the present we have even 1 year, because so much stuff is happening recently. 1 year is a block, so the entire across the page is 5 years. So we have that all with the entire world. North Europe, West Europe, da 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 da. Right now I only have technology though, Speak Sci today. So here, yeah, so I have it from 2000 to 2009, 2005, 2009, and then 2000, 2005, like such. And then in the future, 2010. Well, we're in 2011 now, so yikes. I guess every year I'll put this together. It'll be a way of me studying English and putting it together. I mean, studying history and current events to help visualize. And then, so once you learn the past and the present so much like that, you can make a future. And I will make a future. Even in 500-year blocks, where I can predict the future in 500-year blocks and in detail. And if everybody could do that, that would be really groovy, wouldn't it? So, anyways, I did 15 billion, 3 billion, and then 10 times smaller from 3 billion is 300 million. And you can superimpose them, and because it's all going to be my millennium-long timeline from the past, it's all going to be one page. So it can instantaneously superimpose, the 300 million across, or in this case it'll be 30 million on this page across here, with the one that is 10 times bigger, that is 3 million across. So you can see, you can use it like the power of 10, moving in and out in terms of time, or move back, just like you do with the other one. So you can tell this history of time as you come forward in time like this, and I'll eventually do that. Here's when it was the South Pole. It was the South Pole, and then it was the North Pole. So these are the ages of when it was the South Pole. So gray is south, green is north. South, north, south, north, south, north, and you can see it. You can trace it, go forward in time, all the way forwardly, like such. See, south, north, south, north, south, north, south, north, south, north. So you can see how this is taking me many of times. South, north, south, north, south, north. So for some reason they're getting bigger and bigger as but it's not really done, is it? So yeah, all these different ages from the past. So anyways, this is, I'm looking at this on my website. I should have made it clear. Yeah, these ancient pages, I'm looking at it from my website because I haven't done any work on it since I uploaded it. So, but these pages here is how the final product is going to be, with all these different UN designated areas of the world. But the way that my page is now is a little bit different, and I'll show you in just a second. Yeah, so, but here, let's just move into all of the different pages really quickly. That was the 3 billion years across, and then 10 times smaller, we have 300 million. So, so you can push print, and it'll all print it out. Just the click of one button, this all goes out, and then you chop it with your scissors and glue it to the wall. So, this is Pennsylvania, moves into Permian, and then you can read about it here. And then you can scroll yourself, from back, forward into time. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. So that's 300 million, which is 30 million years across. And then we move into the next page. And then it's 30 million, where the entire page is 30 million years down. And 3 million across here. So 0 to 600,000, 600,000 to 1.2 million, and onward up until you get back to 3 million. And those are the pole shifts. All these different little colors are, now I think all these little colors are galactic years. 26,000 revolutions of the sun, the solar system passing the plane of the galaxy. So 20,000 years. So these are just ascension cycles when you can ascend, ascension, 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 ascension possibility. And then North Pole, South Pole, North Pole, South Pole. So North and South Pole change less often than ascension possibility change of crossing through the galactic center. So you can scroll forward through time, bonk, 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 bonk. Yep. And I'll plug that in. Well, we see Pleistocene, Pliocene epoch, and Homo erecticus is beginning to become evolved. Yeah. So that's the next step up in the size of my page. And then 3 million years is another one, where it's 3 million years all the way down on that page. When you get to see it in that size, you know, 3 million years. And so this section across is the 0 to 300 to 300,000. So then you get to see it in the size all the way to 3 million. And then that's when you move up to the next valency level in time perception. So North Pole, South Pole. You see how North Pole and South Pole are starting to get bigger? And well, you can see that instantaneously just by hitting this button 10 times bigger. It's not on the same page now, but when I do piece it together, you'll be able to see it. So you can get an idea of how big time is and how small time is. It's kind of like standing in a time machine, and now you're moving around in time faster and looking at it faster, or you're looking at it slower, you know? So here's yeah, beginning of Homo genius 2.4 million years ago. Homo habilis 2.3 to 1.4, and they had a cranium that was this big, about the third of the size it is now. And I will have a line that has them living down here. So Homo erectus started here, and now he lives during the Paleoproterozoic. So you see, I will include him though in there when I get around to it. Pleistocene epoch, South Pole, and then down, down, down. So this is 3 million years across, or this is 300,000 years down, and this is 60,000 years. So Neanderthals were in Africa and Europe from 100 to 27,000 years. Because this is 120,000, so this is about 100,000 and 27,000. So this is Neanderthal. And the Mu migration, I included New Age stuff too. So Mu migration was like kind of at the tail end of Neanderthal. Neanderthal lived in about half of Mu migration. And that was, so that's the 3 million year page. So let's go back to the timeline and look at the next page, and then we'll go in and check out BC, and then you're going to get a nice view of moving forward in time and comparing different parts of the world in that same time quite much more betterer. So 330 million, 3 million, and then the 500 column I already showed you, and then we have the 30,000, where it goes 30,000 years across. So this is just 3 pages. So it's only 4 times. So I have 15 billion years, the biggest one, and then 100,000 are 10 times bigger than that, 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 10 times bigger than that. So, and then 20 times bigger, and then 4 times bigger. So it's because it's 500 years across, and then it's 2,500 years across, so that's 4 times bigger, or 5 times bigger, I should say 5 times. And then you get to 30,000, which is 20 times bigger. And then you go 10 times bigger, 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 and 10 times bigger. So, which is 1,000,000 times bigger than this page. Right, the other ones. Anyways, I'll make it more clearly explainable after. So we can go to the very end, 30,000 years ago, over here. The age of Sagittarius is back here. Age of Capricorn, age of Aquarius, age of Pisces. You can see it revolving down here as you can imagine the revolution of our solar system moving, facing all the different 12 zodiacs. So, and then it's 20 to 30. The bird serpent war was here. Homo floresiensis lived here. A little hobbit guy they found in Indonesia. So Homo civilization develops. And here's 10,000. Going back this way. Mayan calendar year ends here, and then it gets 20 times smaller and goes here. And if you wanted to like examine the Bach 10s of the Mayan calendar getting bigger and smaller by 20 times, you can hit this button and watch it go back and smaller, just to get a visual representation of how the needle point of the Mayan calendar points exactly to December 21st, 2012. Pretty interesting. It's good to contemplate because the ancients knew stuff. So here's the slave trade. Remember in the big 500-year page, slave trade took up a lot more because it was a lot smaller. So, and then we saw I showed you the 500-year page, so that included, up to 500 BC until present. So, and then we have, I'm sorry, I skipped the 300,000 year one, so I guess we can look at that one really quickly. So this is 30,000 years ago, and this whole page goes to 300,000. So, and this is from 0 to 6,000 years on this one here. So 500-year Mayan calendar age here, and then here's great years, the 25,920, the revolutions of the sun around the Sirius crossing the galactic plane every 25,920 years. So the last time it was back here, 2,300 years ago or something like that, 2,500 years ago, 25,000 years ago, and then it goes forward, and then it crosses again, next year. So, started Age of Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, and we're going into back into Aquarius again. So, you can use this to see how the precession of the signs. My timeline, it kind of brings everything together. If you're not interested in astrology, well, it can help you become interested in astrology by seeing that this is right here in your face, or make you become interested in geology, or New Age mythology, because this is the people migrating from Mu. So we can trace this one from the very far backest to back. 11th great year, 10th great year, Pleistocene epoch. 10th great year to the 9th great year, 9th great year to the 8th great year. People inhabit Atlantis here. 7th great year to the 6th great year. Homo sapiens are here. Here's birth of mitochondrial Eve. This is a scientific thing. And then we move on down, moving on down, moving on down. And here we are. Interesting. My link doesn't work on that. So, let us go back. I'm glad that I'm looking at this and seeing how much work I have to do, because it further convinces me to pace myself with this project and just realize it's going to take another 2 years, and just to not, make sure to give extra time for myself for exercise so that I can live for a long time. I can postpone the aging process. So here we're going to the BC timeline, and this is something that you can see on my website. We're on my website right now, and this is how I have it set up now. For example, let's just go to Mediterranean. This is how you can see it set up right now. However, this is how it's going to look. So this is how it changed. This is my first vision, and this is the new vision with incorporated with UN, the United Nations guidelines. Because originally I was just going to be like, different parts of the world that, because this is BC Israel, well, that's, the Bible, Mediterranean, and I kind of pulled it out of my ass, but now I'm more standardized. But this is what you can see on the internet right now. And I'll show you how you can move forward in time, because it's cool to trace, or you can use this to explain history. So this is from 5000 BC, and then you move forward in time. So then the Mayan calendar, 1,000 years age, and here's where Adam and Eve were born. So then we can watch Adam and Eve live their lives. They live for 900 years, and they give birth to son, Adam and Eve, and then they have Enos and Canaan, and then they start filling up their family, and in the meantime they go on from Gemini to Taurus. And then, okay, so well now we're in all different kinds of the world. So here we are. So Seth, and this is the Book of Chronicles. So they're talking about it and what you can read about if you want to hear about Canaan and Mahalalel and Jared. So Enoch is born here, Methuselah, and this is the whole story here. So let's move forward in time. Seth, and then Seth dies. Enos, he dies. So now some of them are dying here, Canaan and Mahalalel, but some of them live. Jared lives to here. Lamech and Noah. Noah lives in this period here. Well, I guess longer. So I need to I probably fixed that. So then Lamech dies, Methuselah dies, and then some other guys are born. Here's the building of the ark in a 120-year period. Sem and Shera and Eber and Ru and Peleg, Serug. Go forward in time. Shem dies here. Arphaxad, Sereb dies. And Abraham is born here. So Sarah is already a really old lady by the time Abraham is born, his wife. So it's kind of interesting. So he lives for a good period of time, 100 or so years or something. And then Jacob is born here. Here's the destruction of the Tower of Babel, Sodom and Gomorrah. And there's even a movie in '63. So here's Sodom and Gomorrah, and then Goliath. Books of Exodus starts here, so you have Moses here. The Ten Commandments. I used a different timeline on that than on the one that I'm using now, so that's why it's different. So then we move forward, Book of Chronicles. End of the time of the elders, so this is when all the old people are dying, and now people are living in normal lifespans. And then we go forward, and we have the kingdom of Israel, and the kingdom of Judah lasts longer than the kingdom of Israel, and there are different houses in the kingdom of Judah. And if you want to see who they are and what movies are made and all the other different stuff about them, you can just scroll down, or just scroll forward in history to BC. Yeah, so then the last book of the Old Testament, and then the 400 years of silence before the Lord and Savior. So that is how you can scroll forward in time in BC, or you can compare all the different parts. You can say, well, what was going on in Central Asia? Well, the Seleucid dynasty empire was happening when the biblical silence, Mediterranean, the ancient Olympic Games were happening, the Roman Republic was here, the Hellenistic age was here, Socrates and Sophocles. Well, let's see if Socrates and Sophocles lived in India then. Well, the Buddha lived at the same time as right before Herodotus and Socrates and Sophocles. It's kind of interesting. And China, well, Confucius lived at the same time as the Buddha. Wow. And as right before all these famous guys. So this was a really important time where a lot of stuff was happening, and it kind of makes you believe, oh, what's the coincidence? People like to say, oh, it's not related. We've been around Homo erectus, Homo sapiens since 250,000 BC or whatever. And then all of a sudden, at the same time, on opposite sides of the world, where they're not even communicating with each other, they're all having the fathers of modern day religion happened at the same exact time everywhere in the world. Aha! Here, I'll show you another interesting thing about that. Let's see, 3,500. And this time, about 3,200 BC, that's when Old Upper Egypt, the Indus Valley Civilization, and Sumer, they all started at the same exact time, right? But if you look at the Americas, that's the exact time that that the creation of the world started according to the long count calendar. It started right here. So, boom, boom. Coincidence? I don't think so, because look, down here at 400 BC, you have Socrates living at the same time as the Buddha and as Confucius. What's happening in Egypt at that time? 27th dynasty, we had Xerxes. Well, I think he was the guy who attacked. They were in control of Egypt at that time, so. But yeah, see, that's how you can superimpose stuff. So, I do have a picture, one of religion. I did before, I don't anymore. Now it's just technology. So, what's happening in India? Huh. So yeah, you see, and it works instantaneously because it's all on the same page, which makes it good because you can keep your train of thought. You know, you can keep your concentration without having to wait a few seconds for it to load. You know, and same thing with moving forward and backward in time. Really groovy stuff. Okay, so let's have a really quick ganders at the AD timeline, and we can do just a little quick tour of that, even though it looks a lot different here on the way that the internet is right now than when it will be done. Hey, if you're a person out there in internet world in America and you have an Omega computer, like a Cray computer or some shit, some like expensive ass computer with Omega memory, you're totally welcome to invite me to come over and borrow your computer for a couple hours and paste this onto the internet. Paste my new version onto the internet. So let's look at AD. Singing the song as we load, getting to the next page. This is kind of taking a while. So AD, well, oh, looks like, did it go? Ah, here we are. All right, so AD. So what I like, so you can start here and move backward in time. Now, I have one section for 2005, 2010, 9. So each one is a year, right? 2000, 2005, each one is a year, and then from 1950 to 2000, each one is 10 years. So it kind of can help you give a perspective on how big time is, because now you have an idea. Like if this is 10 years. Like you can figure out what 5 years is by looking at this, and 10 years by looking at these two. Get an idea because you remember this happening and then so much far after this happened. Or even with your own family, you remember that you were born here and so here and this is your life, so you can get an idea of how much 50 years is, and this is 50 years and this is all the stuff that happened. And then from 1950 to 2000, or 1900, 1950, moving back. But then we move into where this is a 500-year period. So this is 100 years. So that 50-year period before that we're looking at here is this whole screen is only half of one of these. But if you can develop in your mind a personal relationship with this amount of time, with the help of developing a personal relationship with this amount of time, and then have a developing personal relationship with this amount of time, and then you move it over here, and you remember that 50-year period that you have the personal relationship is this chunk, which is 1/10 of this. So you can see, you can get an idea, a psychic idea. It's a good way to develop your psychic powers, to get your mind connected directly to the Akashic records, the internet of the mind, up in heaven, up on the higher dimension. You can go up there, all the omniscience that you learn when you go up there. When you die, you can see, and you can actually meet history as though history is a person, and meet the earth, because the earth experiences this, and this is part of the earth's life. You know, the earth loves the humans, because the humans are the most entertaining. So this is the earth's life right here. It's like, tell me about your life story, mother. Well, this is the life story of the earth. So this is technology. These are all the technological people, how they lived. You know, Galileo led right into Isaac Newton. So, you know, could Isaac Newton have existed without Galileo? The way that I look at these people, these historical people, is as though, not as though they're freaks of nature, but as though they're the representation of what people were thinking at that time. And this is just like kind of the person who won the lottery, the mascot of the mass consciousness of what the people were thinking at that time. Of course, they're smarter than everybody else. They were the winners. They're like the gold medalists. But if Isaac Newton never existed, somebody else would have existed at the same period of time. saying the same thing. You know, maybe not quite as good, but you know, because Isaac Newton existing blotched out the shining of the other guy because Isaac Newton got there first and said it first. You know what I mean? There's only one place at the top. So this is just look at Isaac Newton as not, and that's why they call it like Newtonian physics. It's like this is what people were learning in this time, and it's related to a invention that was invented here. So you can see how everything's connected when you can see it all on here like a map. So Galileo turned into Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton turned into the Industrial Revolution, which turned into the Second Industrial Revolution. Mozart was at the beginning of the First Industrial Revolution. You know, Da Vinci was before Galileo, led into Galileo. So yeah, so we can trace technology forward through time from zero to 500, like I did before, you know. And then Bhagavad-Gupta, and then Buddhism, Transit, Sanskrit, and Bhaskara, Middle Ages, Atisha, Thomas Aquinas, and Da Vinci. And then Da Vinci died here, Middle Ages. And then we have Isaac Newton, and such. So, or you can look at different parts of the world in the 0 to 500 year period. You know, technology at that time, we had modalism, which was a religion, and here's all the different popes I have in religious. I actually don't have religion anymore. I broke it up. Empires, don't have empires anymore either, but these are all the different empires that happened. If you wanted to trace empires, in fact, this is our only opportunity because this page doesn't exist anymore. Moving forward in empires, let's see. Bunk. 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 So there you go, bunk. So, superimposing. Technology, religion, empires, Mediterranean. So in the Mediterranean, we had the Julio-Claudians. You see how I've gotten better? This is the same picture. This is the same page. Mediterranean turned into South Europe. So the Julio-Claudians. Here are the Julio-Claudians with the king inside. And now Julio-Claudians and all these dynasties are on top of the Roman Empire. On top of the Roman Empire. See how it's a lot tighter? That's the progression of my timeline. That's how my ideas come together. I make it, and then I make it better, and then I make it better, and just like history, this turns into this, turns into this, turns into this. So what was happening in Northern Europe? Well, the Goths converted to Christianity right at about kind of the end of the Roman Empire. So it's kind of like the end of the need of a Roman Empire, as an empire being a military industrial complex holding the society together, into a religious thing, where then that had to be a religious industrial complex because all these guys, but it's, you know, the Goths convert, everybody's becoming one world. So we're moving forward in time, evolution, and we're not getting more primitive. We're becoming more evolved. So Jesus Christ. Here's all the movies about the Lord and Savior. If you want to know about the movies of the Lord and Savior from Nazareth, Sasanian Empire with all the bosses from there, and I'll put those up there. So there was at the same time. Well, let's see what was living in Asia, in China, the Jin dynasty. The unification of China happened. Actually, we're moving forward in time like this. Happened here in 220, right here. Ba-boom. Here's the three kingdoms. You had 3 different kingdoms at the same time. So I think that was like warring kingdoms. And then they all got unified into Han with this guy. And he buried the terracotta army in China. So this was a really big, militarily and society-wise, this is kind of like the birth of China. Whereas back here was kind of the religious birth. And then here we have actually the physical, political birth. And then, oh wait, you know what? That's BC. Oh, no, it's not. I'm sorry. I got totally confused. This is AD. Yeah, that happened a lot before. But here's another, like, a big thing. You have like one dynasty, and then it broke up into these 3. And then you have another dynasty. These 16 kingdoms are in India, so this is all China here. So one China. But You know, it's a good way to compare stuff happening. Central Asia, Kushan Empire happened then. Americans, Tikal was in full swing in Palenque, and all these guys were in full swing during the Roman Empire. So that was a long time ago. We all see what's happened in Africa. Okay, so that is how to superimpose history, and you can see how I can scroll down the whole thing. So if you want to print it, you just print, and then you can make your little wall, paste it on the wall, and learn the ruler quite well that way. So this is a great way to learn digitally, especially since when I'm done, I'll show you what I'm going to do in the final product. Whenever you mouse over anything, like you mouse over Nerva, you're going to get an entire picture of Nerva that covers over the entire page. And then you mouse over like the war, like Empire at Great Extent, you'll actually see a picture of the Empire of the Great Extent. Every single thing in here is going to have a picture that appears. So it's going to be like a photo album / time map, So it's going to be groovy dope. And yeah, there's what my my BC timeline up to 5000 BC I think looks like. That's like how long it is, but of course now it's a lot thicker, more intricate and such. So okay, so that's the ultimate timeline, and that's what I'm going to be working on for the next couple of years. And maybe you can imagine how amazing the final product will be, because I certainly can, and that's what motivates me to continue forth in the history of time. Okay.